Welcome to Crucible Radio. This week, we're going to be talking about the new Taken King reveal, first of many. So exciting. We've got some questions from the listeners. We're going to be talking to X-Trooper. And we're going to chat with the top-tier Destiny players who compete in the tournament. But, normally we do a bit during the intro. We couldn't really think of anything this week.
I tried so hard.
Crucible Radio.
I'm making a comeback like an auto rifle. The KD hot, all about survival. But I blink off the map like I'm suicidal. Need advice from a voice, they be writing the Bible. Got swaying with the mitre, running a mile. Never salty, just flash a smile. Birds with the Francis cloak and no land beyond. Dude always does it with style. I'll kill you like a pump. Bam, blink 180, shoot. Why would I ever reload? I'm just using bad juju. This is the Crucible. Put down your Galahorn. You can't kill me, dude, cause I am fireborn. Welcome to the Crucible. Yeah, we got that space magic. This is no place for mercy. Your last words could get tragic. Crucible Radio. We making havoc. This is no place for mercy. Your last words could get tragic.
Hey, Mitch. How you doing?
I'm good. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty great. How you doing, Alex?
This doesn't feel right.
Yeah, wait, what just happened?
I think we did that wrong.
Let's try this again. Hey, Bone, how you feeling?
I'm okay. Swainer stash, what is your thing?
Yeah, good stuff. What about you, Bird?
Yeah, sure.
You know what? Let's take it from the top. We got this, right?
we've gone too far. Let's just power through it. We're good. We're good.
So it's been quite a week for Destiny and quite a week for Crucible Radio, the show you're listening to now.
Yeah, Crucible
I feel
Radio
like we've
show.
been saying that for like 2 months because it has been good for Destiny.
It's just been consistently an exciting time to be a host of Crucible Radio.
And an exciting time to be a fan of Destiny the game, our favorite video game that we love.
It's what we talk about.
Yep.
Specifically one part of it, but
The best part,
of
is
course.
the Crucible. This Tuesday, a couple days ago, we had the first stream preview release of The Taken King.
it was Wednesday.
Well, fine. Wednesday. Edit in post. This last Wednesday. I'm leaving all of this in. I'm not editing
None of it's coming
a
out.
second of this out.
Guys, we're going unedited this week.
Oh, boy.
Anyways, on Wednesday...
On Wednesday, we had the first reveal stream from The Taken King, and they took us to the new and improved tower. What would a new reveal be without getting to see the tower? I, in particular, like the giant iPads on the wall where all of your exotics live now, apparently.
Those are nice.
Exotic shuffles.
There's a lot to cover, and look, a lot of it is just, again, quality of life stuff, where we get to see the big picture, not really Crucible related. But, Bones, what are you looking forward to PvP-wise that we found out this Wednesday?
PvP, I really like the simplification that they're going for, both in armor stats and numbers and level and all that sort of thing. But I really liked the display of cooldowns with intellect, discipline, and strength. I mean, previously we had a 0 through 100 percentage, which is fine. I mean, obviously I'm going to try to max out discipline and intellect because that's how I play, but now I can really get a feel for how long that's going to take. And they're catering to people who are both visual, like me, and number people who love seeing that absolute second. So, I got a grenade in 5 seconds. That new tweak makes everything a little more simple, and you realize what's happening and why it's happening. So I just love those simplicity moves that they made.
We saw that there's a ton of new guns in the game, but there's also a ton of new ways to get guns. Of course, there's all of the vendors. There's legendary engrams that you can buy from Rahul. There's Arms Day, where we can get stuff delivered waiting in our inbox. Pair that with the new weapon balancing, and hopefully there's going to be some new options that are viable at top-level Crucible play. Just to see the variability there now, pretty exciting.
I would say that my favorite parts about it was the streamlining of absolutely everything. It makes it easier for you to acquire guns, makes it easier to acquire new guns because of the smarter loot system that they're going to put in place. Factions will guarantee a legendary package every single time. It's just easier all around, and it was amazing to see. The other thing that I really liked was the way the year 1 into year 2 exotics will be working. Just slight tweaks to them, like the Light Beyond Nemesis, which Bones, I know you're stoked about.
Oh yeah,
Going to be intellect and discipline instead of strength. And that's just one helmet on a warlock, and it's going to happen on all 3 classes with a bunch of different armor, a bunch of different guns, and that's something to get really excited about.
Yeah, and plus the new exotics work like every other new gun, where it seems they're going for choices. They're not going to let you pick out of 10 or 15 perks to put on the gun, maybe not like House of Wolves, but they give you choices. So if you like something, you can tweak it to fit your playstyle. I mean, Light Beyond Nemesis, they have selectable perks, kind of how Vault of Glass gear works with Oracle or Minotaur perks and things like that. And I think that's going to be really awesome, just setting up for Crucible. And you're in orbit, dropping in, and you're examining all your gear, and you get to look through everything, and there's just that many more things to select and fine-tune and min-max just to totally fit your playstyle.
I think the one other thing we should mention is that the bounties straight from the Crucible, like from Shaxx.
Oh, yeah.
And the chance that you're going to get a Nightfall tier reward just from completing 5 weekly bounties, which we don't know the specifics of how hard they're going to be or how easy they'll be, but I feel like I could take care of that in a week. 5 bounties ain't that hard, especially when you got 16 bounty slots now. It'll be a lot easier to take care of throughout the week, or at once you just kind of grind it out, and you're going to end, like, you could just skip the Nightfall, or you could do it still, but you could skip the Nightfall and still get a good reward.
It's like they're lifting the hurdles. Picture a track with a bunch of hurdles, and then Bungie just pulled them to the side and lets you take a straight sprint, because previously we had locks every week for how many marks you could earn. You can only hold so much of this. Things costed about 75% of the total marks you'll ever have. So if you bought a weapon, you're not getting another one until the next week. Now we can purchase something and keep earning marks, the legendary marks. That's an awesome thing. And we've got enough bounties that we don't have to drop down to the tower, so we can just keep playing Crucible. I feel like I'll be able to squeeze in like 2 or 3 more games a night just because of the amount of time I won't be spending going to the tower.
Just compared to vanilla Destiny, I mean, there used to be a very set group of things that you did when you played Destiny. I mean, every reset, you would do the Nightfall, and you would do the daily story mission, and you would do your Crucible bounties, and you would do the raid, and that was it. The Destiny has really become a game where you can decide what you want to spend your time doing each week instead of feeling like you need to check boxes. And honestly, I've maybe done 1 or 2 Nightfalls in the past 4 or 5 resets. It's just not something that I need at this point. I don't really need the gear.
I need them.
Granted, slightly different boat here. I mean, I've got my 1 set of hunter gear that I never need to change now. There was one other little thing I liked, how they've made the exotic perk for armor an intrinsic now, instead of having to unlock it after everything else. Because I've got some stuff I picked up from Zara. I want to say, like, I've got Eternal Warrior. Like, I barely play Titan as it is. I'm never going to use that. I'm never going to, use it enough to level it up. I may end up trying it and be like, this exotic perk really isn't worth it. So to be able to buy something straight from Xur, take it into the Crucible, and start using it with the benefit that it gives and level it up as you're using it instead of having to get it to the point where it's worth using, that's huge. Just little stuff, but makes a big difference.
We haven't really hit on the biggest thing, is vault space. There is a ton of vault space now, and it's not even necessary. Like, with the blueprints, with like all of the infusion and all that, it's, for me, it's at, like, right now it's not useful, but on my other account, like, I could get rid of a ton of guns and just like, all right, I feel safe having the blueprints. It makes the collector in me kind of feel satisfied. I can see them on the thing, be like, oh, I have that, I just gotta print it out.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys feel like there was enough vault space? I was hoping for 300 slots per weapon item so I could save every single weapon I got along the way.
I just have to ask, are you joking or are you quoting the internet? Because it really sounds like something, a real thing that I actually read today. I mean, you guys know how I feel about the vault space. I don't need it. I'm obsessively dismantling guns. But what I do appreciate is Bungie's effort to treat the fans to something that they've been wanting all this time. And I mean, like, I was okay with it. I had made my peace, and even in the Game Informer article, Luke Smith said we don't have an answer for that now. And then, hey, they surprised us with one, and I think that's really cool. What it means for me is that instead of like the first week of House of Wolves, where I already had a full vault, and I get a Hopscotch Pilgrim and a Her Benevolence in the same 2 days, and I'm thinking, I got too many guns and dismantle those. But when I do get a new cool gun, it might not look amazing, but you never know. Someone might discover its base stats are incredible. I can throw that in my vault, and then later on, when our geniuses on the playbook go, hey, you got to pick this gun up, or you got to grind strikes for this gun, I go, let me check. I have that. Yes, I do. And then I can play with that. So it's just going to be an awesome way to just keep track of everything.
I kind of side with you on this one, Bones.
Yeah.
I've purged my vault, but to not have to worry about it anymore is pretty cool.
Well, speaking of like cool discoveries, there's actually some awesome things that have been popping up on the Crucible Playbook subreddit, which is where we originated. And it's been kind of fun to see that even this far along in the House of Wolves and this close to the next expansion, that some new discoveries are made. Like, for example, a big one this week was the short gaze. It turns out you can actually predict headshot level. Edgar Allan Bro posted this on Reddit, and everyone kind of like lost their minds about how convenient this is. But what you can do is, with the short gaze scope, you see numbers on the side around the ring. And if you are looking head level, the number 9 will be perfectly horizontal on the x-axis. So it turns out, if you're scoping and you're trying to get those fast ones, or you're trying to look down a hall real quick, you can actually see if you are naturally going to head level or not, because as it's been discussed, the reticle sits lower on the screen. It's not in the middle. So your natural tendency might be to aim high or to aim low.
Yeah, I've been using it ever since I saw that. I kind of like paid attention to it, like saw the numbers on the side, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It was kind of simple in its like explanation. Whenever I'm scoping against like, oh, I know this guy's gonna make the turn around this corner, let me just check real quick, see if it's at 9, like make sure that like if I'm on the same level as him, he's going to be turning that corner at 9, and I'll just like quick snipe him. So it's been useful. I've been using it. It's good advice.
I mean, it does sort of fit with the one piece of advice we were able to extract from KJ Hovey last week, to get your scope set vertically before you try and take the shot, so you can just drag left or right. Another one came up recently, and I'm so excited that this showed up just now after months and months of playing this game. It turns out that you can blink 3 times in a row. I mean, the big thing holding Blink back was that you could only do it twice in a row, and it had a cooldown, and so you really had to plan. You had to figure, okay, well, I'm going to use 1 to close the gap, and then I've got 1 more for this engagement, but maybe I should hold on to it in case I need a quick escape or a dodge. There's a trick to it. There's a great post in the playbook. It was posted by Whatever My Name Is, and he posted a YouTube video. The trick is that you need to sort of time switching your weapons as part of each jump. Obviously, if you're a blade dancer with quick draw, this is a bit more feasible. And something about that manages to reset that counter long enough to give you a 3rd blink in a row. Now, it is an art to learn how to use this, but I mean, that's a game changer.
Yeah, I was actually kind of skeptical when I first saw this post. I was excited to see a way to blink 3 times, but when I figured out how it happens, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to consciously do that, or is that going to put me at more danger switching between weapons if I'm trying to shotgun like a madman? But then I thought about it, and I realized, though it does seem kind of complicated now, this is exactly how metagame develops and how skills develop. If I can compare it to Smash, if anyone understands this, think about wave dashing. It was this thing where if you hit a certain button, you kind of float. And, it looks interesting, and you're thinking, well, why would I ever do that consciously, or why would anyone ever do this? Turns out if you want to play competitive Smash Bros, you need to know how to do that in Melee. So it's interesting, and I'm wondering if this is how the meta is going to go with Blink now that we're maybe seeing some changes to it. But I mean, this is the definition of metagame, is learning those strategies that aren't obvious in the game but can give you an advantage. So it's pretty cool discovery.
I do not like someone blinking 3 times on me. So we put it out there. But the last one that we discovered this week was a post by Chainmail, and it's simply titled Hipfire and Persistence. It seems like he looked into a couple of the guns. Specifically, he had a dead orbit auto rifle, the Unwilling Soul, and he realized that it like when you have the hipfire and persistence, they stack on top of each other, and when you're hip firing, there is 0 reticle growth when you're not aiming down sights. So the reticle is almost just like completely steady, and he found that the Unwilling Soul was a little jumpy, kind of like wasn't, the stability wasn't right. But where it gets really interesting is that these perks are on machine guns, and specifically the BTRD, and they're in separate columns. So you can have persistence and hipfire on your BTRD, and you can kind of just run around, not even having to aim down sights to get some of these. You could just like throw it towards someone that's like hopping around in there, and it'll be super stable, super easy to get the kill. And then it frees up that other column for something like he mentions lightweight +2 agility makes it easier for you to run around while you are hip firing. So it kind of just plays really nicely together, and it's something that I want to try out.
So I have a spare BTRD, and I'm a big fan of the BTRD. It's not quite the archetype that I go for, but it's so stable. It's just such a good all-arounder. So I've been meaning to roll this, but it just kind of makes you think. I mean, here we are. We're a month away from the next release, and we're just figuring out that there are perk combinations that have these strange side effects together. I mean, as long as we have the ability to roll random perks and to make choices in our perks, we're going to keep finding this stuff out. Granted, right now, even with something like this, auto rifles just don't have that time to kill that's competitive. But to be able to have maybe a gun that you roll now that has this, and to take it into year 2 where auto rifles are maybe coming back in a big way, it just makes me excited. I mean, we're going to keep finding these, and a lot of people complain, all right, well, by the time the next DLC is rolling around, we're all totally bored of the current one. We figured everything out. And that's just clearly not true. I mean, there are so many people spending so much time playing Destiny and looking for this stuff, and we're still finding out new things every week, every day.
That's why we're here, because this game is awesome, and there's always new things to discover, even if you feel like it's been a long time since the last one.
Yeah, we're about to get a ton dropped on us, too, so expect many more like this.
Hey, Swain, has anything been happening over on the Twitter this week?
We asked a few questions. We asked people what they wanted to hear us talk about. There were a ton of you responded. Way more than we expected. We love you guys over on Twitter. By the way, both me and Bones have personal Twitter accounts now that you can...
Subtle plug.
Yeah, but, there you go. You can follow me, SwainStash _CR. CR is for Crucible Radio, obviously. And you can follow Bones at Bones _CR. Pretty simple. If you want to ask us specific questions about how we like, Titans or Warlocks, hit us up on there. But we asked on the Crucible Radio Twitter account, what do you guys want to hear us talk about? And a lot of you were talking about the Taken King reveal. And we got one great one that we thought everyone wanted to know about. And it's from _John91_. The sword. Arc tip, heavy weapon. There's no other topic people want to know.
The sword.
The sword! Awesome enough to be a space cowboy, but to be a space ninja samurai cowboy knight? Get out! It's just like roll everything you ever wanted to be when you were 5 years old into a single game.
I couldn't even, in my head, I was just like, how is this even going to work? It sounds amazing. But I'm just I'm thinking will I end up sword fighting someone when heavy drops?
Is it gonna clang together and make you stop?
Yeah.
I'm so speculating hard right now, but it's too exciting because swords are awesome.
Yeah, I want the clang of running against each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of makes you wonder what the heavy drop is going to be like, because it seems like heavy drop is such a defining moment in any Crucible match. Because, look, if you win the heavy, or if you're playing a team's playlist and you win both of the heavies, I mean, that can give you a momentum that changes the whole match. But especially in the threes playlist, you just see a lot of rockets. The proximity rocket is so dangerous and it's so easy to use. If you can sort of outweight the rockets, then a machine gun really makes sense. But I just can't imagine how all of a sudden getting your Hive Knight sword charged up, how you're going to immediately respond to somebody shooting a rocket at you. I mean, you've got so much distance to close. We do have experience using swords with the Hive sword, with the arc blade, sort of the movement of it. But to try and match that up in an arena versus somebody holding a rocket launcher, another person holding a machine gun.
I'm just picturing Sweaty's swords only.
Well, there's two details about the sword, though, that are yet to be understood and could have the most impact. One is we saw a screenshot from the reveal when Deej hovered over it. It says you can block, and that is a thing that our Hive swords have not done. Our Relic kind of does, and the Relic operates in the same mechanics, and I'm assuming they're going to use. That block could be pretty awesome for a heavy round full of rockets with proximity debt. I mean, what if you can pop up a little armor and block a rocket? I mean, that is really cool. It could not look specifically like the overshield of the Relic, but act in that same defensive kind of way, which is amazing.
I could see it looking like maybe the what's the one on the Titan where you're just running? I don't ever take off shoulder charge, so I always forget about it.
Right, the shield.
The shield. It could look like that and you pop it up.
Definitely. The other detail is, this is from an early trailer for The Taken King, where a little dude is walking on Phobos, it looks like, and he's holding the Stranger's rifle, which we found out is actually No Time to Explain. And that caught a lot of people's eye. What some people noticed was down in the corner, this little sword was in the heavy slot, and it did have 30. It had an ammo count, and that's why I think it might kind of work like a swipe would take 3 or 4. I don't know how the numbers play out, but it does look like there's some sort of ammo indicator that will just manifest itself in how much you can kill with the sword. But I hope that you can hang on to it for a little bit, because, I mean, the strategy that could evolve from a shield in the Crucible means you charge in, hold a shield, someone's distracted by you, your teammate takes them out. I mean, it could really change the game.
All right, well, our second question is from Bayou Bengal 83G. What's everyone's personal opinion of the Night Stalker's evade move?
I mean, it is in keeping with hunters having an annoying thing that makes Crucible difficult that nobody else has access to, and everyone might run the same subclass as a result of it. And I'm sure people are going to be complaining about it. We don't know if there's going to be invincibility frames. We don't know if there's a cooldown on it. But it sure does look cool, and I think in general, anything that takes the Crucible and it makes movement a little bit more unpredictable. I mean, that's really what makes the Crucible challenging. And the thing that you can't recreate in PvE is that nobody moves like a person moves. If you give a person a set of choices for how they're going to navigate around the map, I mean, we've seen all these things arise out of our move options, from blink shotgun to Titan skating to just abusing the sliding every couple feet. To have another sort of element in that vocabulary to move in new and exciting ways and to respond to imminent threats like a rocket and have that influence decisions other people make, even if they don't have access to the move, knowing that they're going up against it. I just think there's going to be some amazing possibilities, and I'm definitely leveling up my Night Stalker first to figure out what that's all about.
I think there definitely could be some crazy offensive options with the evade move. But what I have found is that as I've started valuing my life in the Crucible and I'm worried about staying alive a little bit more, the blink for me has been this amazing tool of escape. I blink backwards more often than I blink forwards and things like that. And, you know, someone noticed on Reddit, I could not tell you where, but they actually commented on the fact that the animation for this move looks a lot like the animation from Bungie's old Halo games. And that move was not to attack, but to just escape and throw your enemy off of you. And I think that's like the whole Night Stalker class, is that you are going to have such a problem trying to kill that guy. I mean, he's going to be targeting you and putting blinkers on you for his team to see. He's going to be throwing smoke while you're trying to chase him and then dodging out of the way. I mean, Night Stalkers are going to be incredibly difficult to pursue, and you're going to get frustrated and go, fine, I'll waste my Fist of Havoc on one person right now, and he's just going to trap you in his Night Stalker bow thing and take your super. So this class is shaping up to be something that's going to stay alive for a long time.
As a reluctant hunter, I'm like it's somewhere in the middle. I'm just like, this is going to be so frustrating.
You say that like you haven't been tearing it up in the Crucible for the past 2 weeks as a blade dancer. I
know. I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna abuse it like everyone, but it's gonna be frustrating. I'm gonna have a hunter roll in front of me, and I'll just be like, come on,
fire a shotgun blindly in their direction. I mean, everyone should keep in mind that as much of a challenge as it was to learn how Blinked worked, we all eventually learned how to counter Blink. I mean, it is tricky to do. You have limited options, but if you have Blink, a defensive Blink going backwards, if you have the last word, just backpedaling and just being able to predict where a Blink is going to put somebody and being able to sort of pre-aim in that situation, or getting clever with it and sprinting forward and sliding underneath their Blink to sort of throw them off. It's going to be a challenge for all of us at first to both learn how to use it and how to counter it, but it is going to happen. There's no way we could spend a month playing with and against Night Stalkers and not eventually figure this thing out. And there will be a place for it in the new metagame, but I don't think it's going to dominate any more than, you see a lot of Sunsingers, you see a lot of Titans. Blink is strong, but it's not a game breaker.
Well, hey, I love hearing these questions from Twitter. I mean, there's been a lot of new information that we still have yet to fully understand, so it's tough for us as a Crucible-specific podcast that likes to talk about the game we have to really get into extreme details, but it's awesome to see the community just exploring and coming up with new ideas, and we love hearing them. And I think we passed 1,000 Twitter followers today, which is so cool.
Exciting, yeah.
You guys are awesome. So that's nuts. That's so awesome.
We also want to make sure that John and Bayou Bengal, make sure you hit us up on Twitter. We got Red Bull codes for both of you for asking some good questions, inspiring some chat here on the podcast.
Definitely.
If you're interested in perhaps a Red Bull code of your very own, follow us on Twitter and keep an eye on it. Leading up to our next episode, we will definitely pose a question to our audience. If we read your comment on the air, you will get a Red Bull code. So let's see if we can crack 2,000 subscribers.
Whoa.
We drink a lot of Red Bull.
Hey, man, you gotta do something to pass the time while you wait for the Taken King. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
All right, guys, we're going to cut to a quick break. We are going to have a interview with X-Trooper, one of our favorite Crucible scientists, a little bit later. But Birds, Bones, you guys are in a great position this week. There is a tournament happening in the city you live, a PvP tournament. You guys had a chance to go there?
Apparently, Destiny is throwing the first official PvP tournament. Granted, it's in a stream release, but they happen to do it in LA at the Red Bull Studios. So Bones and I got a chance to go meet up with some of our friends from previous episodes and have a little talk with them and get to hear their side of it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing them. It was pretty cool hearing from them, and they got some cool stuff coming up.
So we're going to go ahead and cut to some field recordings from our night hanging out with those guys. But before we do that, I was kind of thinking what would be cool is a musical break.
Oh.
Let's do a musical break.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I like that idea.
Musical break. Birds with the good ideas.
Music.
All right, calm down.
Points and thousands anoint. Come out from the house and bricks go up around him. We fall inside. Who's the black? Don't hide. I do the scripture, archaeologist insisted. I come from legions who walked around on feet and fists. Talk business with lynchmen. We dead to them. They guy in pale skin. That's odd. I'm Gail's son. 8 grams in the railroad. I walk like the road is slow. Somebody left me. I'm just deaf, out the oven, puff a cliff and side his chin. Hollywood is just him. I'm out the gun. You should run in.
Hey everybody, Bird's here. I know this is usually Bones' job, but I elbowed my way in because I wanted to be the one this time to say thank you. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, Crucible Playbook. Thank you, all of our followers on Twitter. No matter how you found us, and we hope that you keep coming back. We've got so many great things planned for the show, and we're so happy that you're on this ride along with us. It's been crazy.
And record. Are we gonna do the? Wait, did you already say it? I wanted to say hi to the listeners.
Well, you tell them next week.
We just got here. They look like I'm strange.
Yeah, this is the first
Cheers.
step.
Drinking on the job. So, Bones, where are we right now?
We are at a bar that will remain unnamed. And on that bar is a rooftop. And on that rooftop... No, I did this backwards.
That's okay. Normally we'd fix this in post, but we are in a rooftop bar right next to the ocean in Los Angeles. He's like, I just want to have fun, and then I want Destiny to go competitive and play that. And I don't blame him, because that's how I feel. Right?
I'll quit my job, dude, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, this whole Red Bull esports thing has been like
it's like a game changer.
Yeah. Well, it's them. You know, they're making a statement that we want Destiny to become something greater than what it is right now for the PvP, and
you wouldn't see
also that Red Bull. Right. They wouldn't partner with Red Bull esports if they're not building toward that. And, they're going to add private games. They're going to add league and rain play. I don't know when that's going to be, but it's
coming,
dude.
It's
something that they're probably working on right now. And
that's the thing. Like Destiny's forever progressing. Like it won't stop. It'll like slow down every now and then. But when it comes back with like content, it comes back with like content. Like it's not anything you just sit around. It's not another Dark Below DLC. It's more than that. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I'm curious to what the next DLC is going to be for PvP stuff. Anyway, because they had Trials with Cyrus, big, and they're adding 2 new modes and tons of maps, and there's a lot of stuff.
It's the zone control, the mayhem,
the mayhem.
Okay, so technically 3.
Right. So they're adding a lot here, but I want to see maybe the next DLC is when they drop. One of the things that we really want. I don't know.
Right.
We've just I don't even want to say it out loud. I want to jinx it. It's gonna come when it comes. Well, I just think it's cool that. It's not like competitive Destiny is new. Like people are running sweaties every night of the week, but to have Bungie put their stamp on it. Well, you want organized events. You want
the best players.
Respected. You want to be able to play for stuff. Sure, because that's what gaming is for a lot of people. That they're playing for something. They're playing for. They're playing for prizes, or they're playing for fame, or they're trying to, achieve something. Mm-hmm. And right now, Destiny's just. I go into matchmaking, and we don't even know what matchmaking search is based on because black magic. I play Rumble Match. Everyone in there is from Europe, and I don't know why.
You're dying around corners, and you're just like, okay, all right, I understand.
I want to play regular Crucible just to relax, and then I want to go into a mode where I'm going there to play other good players.
Right.
Or I want to match people specifically without having to take, a long time.
A half an hour
Granted, once you get the process down, it's usually pretty quick, but there's been situations where we were playing and we didn't have hosts that were near each other at all, and then it's like a nightmare. Yeah, it's great when you have 2 people on the West Coast or 2 people on the East Coast, but when you have someone in Canada and someone in New Zealand, and it's we want to play, but I've seen those tournament brackets where it's just that matchup happens. You're like, this is.
Well, I did that. I was actually in a PS4 tournament, and it was an awesome effort, and it was amazing to see. I don't know, there was 40 teams trying to get in there, but it just came down to you guys are in Canada, one of us is in Philadelphia and Texas. This is going to take us 45 minutes. So to make that process
the community's already there.
Right.
They're willing to go through all that to have anything right now, and you know, that's the hardest part, is to build a community that's that passionate about something. You know, you can't make an esport. You can't force it. Well, it's either something that's fun and that people want to compete at, or it isn't. And right now the community's there, and so once Bungie takes that next step, it's just going to take off.
I feel like this weekend alone, like they're gonna try to like see what, like how it turned out. You know what I mean? To see whether or not they want to pursue competitive now, or if they want to wait until later. Because I feel like with how esports is growing is in general, like how people are playing everything. You know what I mean? You can think of any game right now that's that's multiplayer and it's competitive somehow. There's someone out there that wants to win every tournament and wants to win every prize. And with Destiny, I feel like that's gonna happen soon. And I feel like today or tomorrow or today or whatever, it's gonna be like the first step to seeing like how it's gonna turn out. You know what I mean?
Having a competitive game is not just only for the players, but the people that watch. You know, like people. Yeah. There's a lot more people that watch than actually play. So you know, having a strong foundation, and we have a community like Triple said. It's going to be up to Bungie. It's in their hands to kind of take it forward, and it is what it is. You know,
it's fun to watch, and it generates interest in the game, and certainly it'll drive people to play it, and some percentage of that they want to play competitive, and that's great. When you look at games like Counter-Strike's been around for 20 years, and now they're ESL championships, they're pulling like 600,000 concurrent viewers.
It's insane.
And that's like a huge leap.
Yeah.
It wasn't, that's just a big leap. It wasn't even that gradual. It just took off. And I think that just speaks volumes for the appetite of the people out there. Twitch growing, YouTube massive, and all that stuff is there. So.
I don't know. I feel really confident in the future of Destiny. I mean, look at how far it's come already, and I just think, like, especially after this weekend and today alone, like, I feel more confident about it than ever before. So
it's a good sign for sure.
I mean, we just got flown out here to play the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we paid for these flights. Like that was covered.
Oh, I'm good.
I'm another Jameson. One more Jameson?
Perfect for the
sponsored by Jameson.
Right? We're actually looking to lock down. It's not important. So we're all drinking Jameson here.
You guys know my side of it. I like Inferno, and that's what I'm going to wait for, but it's still a blast to shoot at people when they shoot right back. So
that's a game changer. I love it. I like playing with people who have to think about, like, when I do things before I have to do it, it's kind of like, because I can play Control with my eyes closed and like with my feet and still win, you know what I mean? Because people just don't shoot back. But
Control teaches you bad habits, right? Like you just learn to be lazy in Control.
You just run.
Hold the sprint button.
You run. You go neutralize the flag. You run back to your two flags. You just wait till they hop on their flag again. You just kill them. And you run back. It's like all you got to do. Inferno's fun though. I can't wait for like Inferno TTK stuff to come out because that's like my preference too. I don't like radars. It pisses me off.
Were the new maps anything like really cool? Anything like?
I mean,
do they feel different, or are they just more of the good maps that we know?
I thought they just had nice touches on it, like visually, but like they felt like Destiny maps.
Yeah, they're good maps.
It's so weird seeing the tower in first
There's
person.
no doors, which is good.
No doors,
right? And they seem. I mean, Destiny doesn't really have truly symmetrical maps, but they're more or less symmetrical. Yeah. So they suit Rift, and Rift is a great mode because
Rift has been fun, man. Like
playing an objective mode,
being sneaky.
It's very refreshing.
The tower map is
that one's really good.
I'm looking forward to that.
That's a really good map. It feels good. It flows really well too.
Were the the unique stuff to try to change up the flow, where the man cannons or the teleporters, did that come into play at all?
That's only on the mayhem mode that we play at least.
Okay.
It may be in Rift really, but And it was fun to me. I mean, I love waiting to see somebody go over the cannon and just snipe them as they go through.
Right.
And that was a lot of fun. As a hunter, the new hunter subclass.
Yeah.
You just have grenades and stuns or smokes or whatever it is, and you just throw it the whole time. I mean, it's one right after another into an arrow it was a lot of fun.
It's so weird going to a hunter and like going for a melee, but you throw a grenade at them.
Yeah, that threw me off. But once I got
you like
into
right in
it,
their
I
face,
loved it,
just stick them with a nade. It's like, what?
The hunter class is sweet for Rift because like you now have this mobile objective and like you can throw I guess it's like a stun or it's like creates a smoke but when you're in it you like can't move. Yeah, it's kind of blinding. So there's all those kind of things that you can just like throw down on top of the what's it called, like
The spark.
the spark. Yeah, you can throw it down on that, and so the other team can't really get to it.
There's a lot of strategies to develop with this mode in terms of teamwork and actual strats instead of like, hey, there's the guy, I have to shoot him. There's more thought into like, when are you going to use your supers? When are you going to, make a play? When are you going to be defensive and stuff? And it is going to come down to communication. I have no idea how it's going to happen.
Does it go as far as like, can you designate someone to be the guy who picks it up, or is that a little
with
too
enough
tough to do?
time? I think teams could become
it
incredibly
up. Versatile.
with defining roles.
You'll
you
have that
specific subclasses for different purposes.
That's awesome.
And
Usually it's me or Blaine that grabs it.
very cool.
It just depends. Like if you have that opening setup and like, all right, we're gonna set up around this, and Flamestar can just run in and grab, like whatever it may be. But dude, I said it a bazillion times. But Inferno in this is gonna be sweet because you don't know where your opponents are coming from, so you have to set up well.
You have to make sure you
and like when you peek out to go see that. The one thing I would say about the game mode that I would change is I would like the first spark to spawn a little faster. There's like a 20
30 second delay.
And so like you get on there and there's this objective game that you're playing but no objective on the field yet. So it's like I understand the wait a little bit, but like cut it in half or something.
It's a mosh pit middle map every time.
Well, I mean, is that like time where you try and set up and control the area of the map you want?
Yeah, there is, but to me, like after playing it for like a day, I kind of already felt like, all right, I already, like I get to my spot and then there's still like a good 10-20 seconds left on the timer.
Sure,
so
right.
It just becomes this awkward like, well, I don't really want to move yet because that's about to show up, but it's not there for another 10-15.
Who should we be looking out for?
I think anyone has the opportunity to do well.
We're all pretty good.
You know who you should be looking out for is whoever's using the sidearm because that is
that thing
everyone.
That thing melts, dude. I'm gonna stick to my sniper. I'm gonna just like roll a bunch of times until I get a good scope because my scopes are just like magnifying glass. They're bad.
I'll tell you what though, I had a couple games where I only had like 7 kills and then somebody else on the team had like 20 something and they're just using the sidearm.
You don't even have to score, but if you pick up the spark,
you get 300 points.
Like that's huge.
Yeah. It's like
you just have to be aggressive. And try to
I like it. Good.
Picking it up alone gets you 300, and then like getting it closer gets you like 100 the more closer you get to it, and then when you die, you die. But that's 500 points right there.
Well, that's what they're trying to avoid is the people because I mean, capture the flag is fun in Halo, but it devolves into getting in a Warthog and just like driving around the back of the map for hours.
It's too binary in that it doesn't. You're not being rewarded for making good plays at all.
Right, yeah. So it's like, why do I pick up the flag and die?
I mean, you're mostly going to win if you're being that super aggressive, but you might get actual, scores that can make the difference as well. And other things do count, kills count, stuff, but it's much smaller.
So do you think, I mean, like if you just play the objective in Rift, can you win even if your KDs suck? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we lost the game.
Yeah, we lost the game. We were destroying too.
The last
we all
game,
had like 20 plus kills.
I did well myself, but like we lost by like 6K points.
Just have to wait and see, dude. Like, I honestly think the Night Stalker class is the best. like out of all 9 classes. Like every single one of them.
Bold statement.
Night Stalker is probably the best.
I mean, we all kind of saw it and was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's like a PV support class.
Yeah,
then,
but like you can kill people with like the bows, and then you also like stun everybody on the map.
Well,
and then
here's the thing though, is that class that we're playing is like the only class that has any agility. All the others aren't, like, the classes get, the Warlock and the Titan get way better at the end,
I mean, can you skate with the Titan?
No, you only have your very first jump.
Yeah,
okay.
the full subclasses isn't available, which is
Fair enough.
It's still an amazing experience, and I think this is really
it's like
just
playing the beta or the alpha.
Yeah. But it's hella fun. It's like it's been really fun, and it's really relieving that we didn't have these blinks or anything
no
that's
thorn,
like
there's
the top.
no
Thorn.
there's no shock. Well, there's shotgun, but you can't.
The shotgun's
blink,
actually
so,
good
like,
too.
yeah,
The
yeah.
shotgun's not that bad. Like it's good.
No, it's solid. It's how a shotgun should
Yeah,
be.
it's
kills at
solid.
close range.
Yeah.
And it does
that's
not
it.
So
snipe
you
you.
can still get that one hit kill with it, but
Right.
Yeah,
you
but
can't
if
be
you-
like
yeah.
30 feet away.
It's not a Fellwinter's Lie.
It doesn't have shot package.
It doesn't have shot package or rangefinder. It just.
Oh man, yeah, I thought it was 2 something. This
Oh
is
no,
Eastern time.
definitely
yeah. Welcome back to the Pacific Coast.
Yeah. 3 hours. I was like,
All right. Well, we probably kill this, but since we didn't get to do an introduction, who are we talking to right now?
this is Triple Wreck.
One and only Triple Wreck over here, dude. And I'm Fizzor.
And I'm Cloud. You guys don't know me yet, but you will.
Well, yeah, we'll have you on the show.
Soon.
Oh yeah. All right, before we totally lose it, we have coming up right now an interview, as promised, with the one, the only ex-trooper who's going to talk about the method behind the madness. Let's start to that before we all simultaneously faint.
I'm MD title. Keep the belt, it's too big. Anyway, I'm too grave. To the mic, I'm too slave. 2 fingers on the trigger while you rigid. I'm still gone. Put this rhyme between your optical. Take all toxin, 2 calibers. Get off the formaldehyde, 2 tits in the caravan. Get out town.
All right, well, joining us on the show today, we have the original Crucible scientist. So happy to have him on the show. Ex-Trooper, thank you for joining us.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, guys. There's a spreadsheet that for pretty much every gun in the game lists out all of the numbers in excruciating detail. So listing how much damage each shot does, both body shots and criticals, how fast it shoots, and then from there calculating the time to kill for each one of these guns. And it is extensive. And I was just wondering if you could maybe sort of walk us through your process for building something like this. I mean, I imagine there's a fair amount of sort of getting a group together and rumble and going off and hiding in a corner and shooting each other with guns. I mean, sort of walk us through how something like this comes into existence.
Well, I can tell you a couple things, though. I have never worked with the Excel spreadsheets ever before. Halfway through, I noticed that you could put colors, and I had a lot of fun doing that.
Color-coded all the way out.
Everything, but I'm not super smart or anything. This is just something that is incredibly basic in any other communities, and this was something that was missing for Destiny, and I can't really play a game unless I know everything about it. So
familiar with the feeling, yeah.
Yeah, so it was really just I went through trying to find pictures of just Destiny. I was just looking for Destiny, and I found a wiki that had some of the RPM numbers listed, and from that, I made this entire thing. You don't make these spreadsheets based on just testing inside of your video game. You don't bring your guys to your party. You don't shoot them. You don't base time off clips and stuff because that has inaccuracies. Mm-hmm. And instead, what you find is you find official sources.
So you're saying there's a lot of work that goes on outside of actually playing Destiny to put something like this together.
This game runs at 30 frames per second, and when you fire a bullet in the game, you can only fire a bullet one time each frame. It is not possible to fire 2 bullets in 1 frame. And because of this, there's only a select few RPM numbers that are really healthy for the game. Like, just, that will be the most consistent. So, usually at 30 frames, we're doing 450 RPM, 600 RPM, and 900 RPM. Picture yourself a ruler, but in the middle of, like, 1 or 2 or 3 inch, everything like that, there can only be one shot. And if you have a messed up RPM number going into that, then it will first be in the middle, and then it will be slightly to the right of 2 inches, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, so right, I think this makes sense. So, you know, we have these true RPM numbers under the hood, and if you try and view that in the context of the frames lining up, you've sort of forced the true numbers into this kind of arbitrary regular distinction of frame rate. You're not seeing the true values. You're just sort of seeing them represented in an imperfect game, an imperfect network sort of frame rate situation.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried to make that sound as exciting as possible.
So that's talking about the fire rate, which is sort of at the heart of any, a time to kill calculation. Mm-hmm. But like, okay, I'm looking at like 55A All Fate. Nice pulse rifle, big fan of it. And sort of the other part of that calculation is the crit shot damage and the body shot damage. How do you, and those numbers vary quite a bit, even within a single sort of weapon type. How do you find those numbers?
Archetype. What Bungie did is when they made this game, they wanted a system. They wanted a system they could balance, and they wanted a casual system that was friendly to a lot of players. So this has a lot of problems. This has a lot of perks to it. I mean, it's good for what they're creating, and they want something consistent and long. But basically, all the guns in the entire game are just, they are all the same. They're just derived up in different archetypes. So pretty much I got stats for 1 gun, a couple guns, 3 guns, and then I could just figure out the stats from there on to all the different weapons. So that's really easy. All Fate is the exact same gun as one of the starting green pulse rifles. It's the exact same as the Red Death, and it's the exact same as the Stranger's Rifle.
Have you done any research into perks and how they're different or anything like that?
Well, I've done some perks, and it's really easy because what you have the numbers pop up on your screen when you shoot someone. So if you do fire at someone in PvP, for example, reactive reload, you look at the number, and from that number, you can find out the percentage, because everyone is saying that reactive reload on YouTube, though. A lot of people are saying that it's 25% when it's actually 33% based on the number.
So it's sort of like with the frame rate and stuff like that, like the examples we see in front of our eyes in Destiny is not always 100% accurate to what's really happening numbers-wise.
Because of that frame of what is happening, and then you also have latency issues, and then you have something called frame rate drops that can mess up with the RPM of a gun, and that's, for example, sometimes when you get around a corner with the last words and you both shoot and you feel like the exact same time, then he kills you for some reason, and you're just like, why? How did that happen? I'm using last word, which kills a lot faster than your gun ever will.
So when you're getting killed like that, and you just sort of, I know that causes a lot of rage. I mean, it frustrates me to see a player kill me with a shotgun, but I didn't see any animation. I didn't even see him with that gun out. That's just kind of the price we pay to play an online game, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess. There's not really much more to it than that. I mean, that's been problems present since all of online gaming, but it's just It's just a sense of how the mechanics work and how you can do to manipulate that or use it to your advantage, or why not everything works the exact same you want it to all the time. I mean, a lot of people have the thing where they won't look at numbers, or because, like, I have people ask me all the time. They'll send me a message, and they'll just be like, hey, how does this gun have less damage than this gun? The stats in bar say that it does more damage, and I feel it does more damage. I can understand that, because people come back from the game and they're just like, I feel like they buffed this thing or feel like they nerfed this thing. It's a lot easier to see in this game, though, because the numbers actually pop up on your screen.
So I just seen like an article the other day with one of the people who does the weapon balancing, and he was saying that that sometimes you can change the way a weapon feels just by changing the sound of it. So he gave the example of a sniper rifle that everyone says, oh, it's so underpowered, it's no good. And then they added just like a really booming percussive shot sound to it, and now everybody's complaining about how, oh, this gun is so OP, it's too strong, they should nerf it. And literally all they've changed is the sound that goes with it. So to be able to see the hard numbers underneath and sort of make an informed decision, it makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, I think that is definitely the place that I start. But let me ask, how does having this knowledge affect the way that you play Destiny?
I can tell you this. I play competitively just about everything, and I play a lot of different games. And I play, for example, card games, and I'm used to having everything in front of me. So, for example, with a card game, everyone knows every card, what everything does. I want that exact same feeling when I'm playing this game. Because what you want to do when you're fighting anything and when you're doing anything is that you want every single possible advantage you can have. In this game, I try to use the most long-range weapons because people are not the best at aiming, therefore longer ranges give you the best chances to take people out. What can then take people out the most efficiently, the fastest, against countering other weapons most efficiently? And you can look at, for example, stuff like this. Like, I played Call of Duty for a very long time, and you always had these type of spreadsheets everywhere. But how that affects me is that I will use the weapon that I play some novelty, but when I'm talking about just playing competitively, I will use the weapon that will probably do the best long range, and I also pay a lot of attention to sound. So, for example, if I'm at long range and I can hear that he's using a low rate of fire scout rifle, I know that with the Mida multi-tool, his shots will be everywhere, and he will have a very low chance of killing me. And the only chance of him killing me is 3 headshots, because that is the most efficient time to kill he will have on that weapon. And taking 4 shots is a lot longer on that gun than just anything in the game, and that gains me the advantage then.
Let's talk about the 2.0 weapon balancing. As you know, we actually discussed that pretty thoroughly on a previous episode. What stood out to you in that article, and what kind of changes are you excited to see, or anything you just found particularly interesting?
But the short answer from what I can tell is that it's all really about what's going to happen to auto rifles. I think what they did to the hand cannons was great. I still think Hawkmoon might be a problem, because Hawkmoon is probably the coolest gun in the history of all the games that I've been in, because there's never been a gun that is so good but also so liked, if you see what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people will just be like, they don't like the Thorn, they don't like the Last Word. Despite the Hawkmoon being as good as it is, people will not despise it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, no one badmouths the Hawkmoon.
No one does. But even though it's super overpowered, like if you're against the Thorn and the Last Word using that, and you're just sitting there with 10,000 kills with a Hawkmoon, then you're as bad as them. You heard it from me here. I'm sorry.
A lot of people don't like the Thorn. I happen to enjoy the Thorn, but I guess well, maybe we'll hear that in the answer. What jumps out to you? What do you like to bring into the PvP?
I like things that do a lot of damage, and it's like high risk, high reward. So Warlock, and in terms of PvP, I thought that Warlocks was going to be the glass cannons, but that's the exact opposite of what they are. They are the most tankiest class. But right now, what I'm only rolling is...
Thank you, the Ram.
The Ram is overpowered. Bungie, it is a horrible addition to the game. That it is the greatest mistake you've ever done. Luke, go back to like the design room or whatever. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but the current loadout I have right now is just, it's the Thorn, and it's the Felwinter's Lie, and it's the Ash Factory, I think. What they did with House of Wolves is that they introduced a couple guns here and there that could randomly drop from like Strikes and Crucible. These guns, have I speculated, have been made by an intern.
Well, what are we talking about? The hopscotch right here?
The hopscotch and the BTRD. Because these guns, like you heard it here first, and I wanted to make a topic on this, but I'm lazy and I procrastinate. But these guns break the rules of the game because all of these guns have like a cap of what they can be. This is present in the strategy guides and the rules of the game. We'll just keep it the rules of the game. All right, this machine gun right here, it can only have this many bullets in the magazine, and the perks can only bring it up to this amount. The BTRD has more stability than is supposed to be possibly have in its archetype. It has a higher aim assist than it's supposed to have. What they have is that they have different archetypes of weapons that are supposed to make up for their performance with other perks. So, let's see. So, hand cannons are supposed to be really easy to hit, to be really satisfying up close. So they will have really high aim assist, right? And then some guns, like auto rifles, they will have a lot of bullets spit out, but they will have lower aim assist to make up for it. You see what I'm saying? And some of these guns that they introduced with the House of Wolves, they break these rules. They're not supposed to have this much aim assist. They're not supposed to have these best stats. That's why you now have a pulse rifle that has the most stability, most aim assist, everything, and so does the other rocket launchers, stuff like that.
It's so interesting because I think balance issues aside, I love hearing about this side of the game because it's incredible how deep this game can go. And, you know, you get the people who want to just say it's all thorn shoddy, but there's so much more involved and it's a young game and there's a lot to change. So we really appreciate you coming on the show and just, you know, explaining all the intricacies because it's fascinating to me. I'm not the kind of scientist that can handle all the numbers or even really know what they mean. So this has been really interesting.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. I'm sorry, I don't know what.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I feel like I could just talk about this for so long, but like you said, I think there's a lot of stuff going on in this game because looking at the balance perspective for all the guns, except for the exotics, they have actually had a lot of thought into all the different weapons and how they perform.
Well, as soon as the Taken King comes out and we've got a whole new set of numbers to work with, I'm going to be looking forward to that spreadsheet. In the meantime, if people want to learn more, where can they find you?
They can find me on Reddit, and I do answer questions on Reddit. I do encourage a lot of people to look for if there's any faults in the spreadsheets. Like one time I messed up the aim assist and the visual kick value for all the machine guns for 2 months. And then a person messaged me and told me, and I was not mad. I was happy that he pointed that out for me. But you can message me on Skype. No, you cannot actually do that. You can message me on Reddit. You can find me on Reddit, and I put out threads quite regularly there. You'll have a huge update from me actually very soon, which will tell you like all the tidbits from the year 1 of Destiny. But hopefully that should be good, and then you can ask in that thread. I answer all the questions that I get.
It's the mark of a good scientist to constantly readjust and constantly update. So, X-Trooper, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You will taste the steel of my blade?
I think not, for I shall pierce your heart first.
My chainmail proves too effective against your stabs and berries.
Have at these!
Scoundrel!
I've counted your move with L2.
We have gotten access to a special sword fighting pre-release of Destiny, and we are not sharing. So enjoy these awesome sword fighting sound clips.
As always, you scoundrels can find us on the Playbook, on Reddit, Crucible Playbook. You can find us on Twitter, Crucible Radio, Facebook, Crucible Radio, and PlanetDestiny.com/Crucible Radio.